Before the Prime Minister hit town this week, the Federal Environment Minister Peter Garrett made a flying visit to commit $1 million to improving the health of Darwin Harbour. The money will be spent on developing better urban design around the harbour and establishing water quality targets. The federal government is also working on setting up a network of marine reserves off the Territory coast by 2012 to protect hundreds of kilometres of pristine ocean. But commercial fishing operators say the marine parks could put them out of business, and recreational anglers look like they will be excluded from some parts of the reserves. And environment groups are worried not enough restrictions are being placed on the oil and gas industry. Jane Barton reports.
Tourists have come to Bearsand Island, 50 kilometres west of Darwin, to see flatback turtles. Researchers also come here each winter to count, measure and tag the turtles. The flatback turtles are listed as vulnerable on Australia's threatened species list and have used this region to lay and hatch their eggs for thousands of years. Scientists say if the turtles' future is to be assured, the hundreds of kilometres of ocean in which they feed and breed must be better protected.
They've actually survived for the last 100 million years because of this very stable environment that they live in. Now, any change to that, whether it's through a particular development or such as oil and gas or urban development, then that's going to impact on these turtles.
The flatback turtles swim to these breeding grounds through waters earmarked to be included in a marine protected area network. The federal government says more than 300,000 square kilometres of Commonwealth waters off the Territory coast are being assessed to see if they should contain marine reserves, which would conserve these turtles and other marine life.
We are firmly committed to having a set of representative marine protected areas in place by 2012. That's been the commitment of previous governments, and it's certainly the commitment of the Gillard government.
But green groups say there's been little progress towards establishing protected areas of northern Australia, and they've launched a television advertising campaign calling for rapid action.
With less than 1% protected, our top-end sea life is worth protecting.
We're after large marine sanctuaries, the areas where you can't go fishing or extract oil and gas, because they're the areas that work. The science has proven them to work and protect our marine biodiversity.
Environmentalists say after the spill of thousands of tonnes of oil from the Montara well off northern Australia last year, the oil and gas industry can't be trusted to operate in the marine protected areas. But the industry's peak body says the spill has prompted it to make improvements.
Clearly Montara has happened, the Gulf of Mexico has happened, and we need to learn from these incidents as an industry.
And it's received reassurance from the government that it will be allowed to continue operating within the protected areas.
Our understanding is that the tenure of the industry, our exploration permits, our retention leases, our production licences and our pipeline licences would be recognised under the reserve system.
We have the last relatively healthy tropical marine environment left in the world. Are we going to let the oil and gas industry just destroy it?
We can achieve adequate protection of marine conservation areas and in some places have multiple use, which is managed very, very carefully to make sure that the environmental values are intact.
Where the oil and gas industry will be allowed to continue to operate in protected areas, the commercial fishing industry is worried it will be locked out. The industry says northern fish stocks are healthy and there's no reason to exclude commercial boats from rich fishing grounds.
They focus on the easy targets. You know, we don't have the money that the oil and gas industry has to protect ourselves, so it's very easy to take such a diverse industry as the seafood industry and knock us out and give yourself the green tick.
Recreational anglers will also be kept out of some parts of the marine protected areas, but it's not clear how much will be off limits. They say they shouldn't be locked out of any area because there are already restrictions on how many fish they can catch.
The fact of the matter is that this is a political activity. It's a promotion that the Commonwealth Government are undertaking in order to appease Green votes in Victoria and New South Wales, and has got nothing to do with the Northern Territory.
Aboriginal ranger groups want a role in managing the marine protected areas, but along with all of the other stakeholders, except oil and gas, they say they haven't been properly consulted.
Most of our coastal areas are nurseries for species which travel out to the sea, such as the prawns, the snapper and so forth. So we believe that we have a stake in any development, either that be a marine park from the Commonwealth or an IPA or any other development, that being a mining company or gas extractions or oil extractions from the sea.
The Commonwealth Government's definitely letting the timeframes slip, which often makes me wonder if this is a political process rather than a biodiversity conservation process.
I expect that there will be additional consultation as well. It'll be an intense process, but it will be a thorough process, and we will aim to reach the 2012 timetable.
In the short term, the timetable for the marine protected areas won't make a difference to the way these turtles use this breeding ground. But scientists say to ensure their long-term survival, tougher regulations must be imposed in the areas where they live, on the oil and gas industry in particular.
I feel disappointed that we haven't learned our lessons and that each time we approach one of these ventures, we seem to approach it as if it's the first time we've ever done this sort of activity. And we should actually be compiling not only our successes but also our failures and trying to learn from what's gone wrong in the past.
Jane Barden reporting.